In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use the sort and sort by Excel functions to make sorting data much easier for you. So let's say that we're tracking an internal project at work. I have a simple project list here with project names, the name of the project manager, project start date, due date, and its status. So first, let's go over the sort function. So here, I want to see project sorted by project name in alphabetical order. So I'll start by typing equals sort and selecting the data range, excluding the headers because I don't want them to be part of my sort results, and press enter. And let's expand this and make sure these are all formatted with the right date. So because the project names are in the first column on the left, all I need to do is press enter and my data will reappear in the results, but this time sorted by project name. And because we don't have the headers, let's just copy and paste these over on top of our results so we can see what it is that we're looking at. Now, results like this are called spill, and think of that as Excel just spilling your results into a new location. So in a spill function, if you want to make changes to the formula, you need to go to the cell in the top left corner of your results because this is where your actual formula is residing. So notice here in the formula bar that if I place my cursor on any of these other cells where we see data, the formula is grayed out. Well, that's because that is part of your results, but those cells that are grayed out don't actually contain the formula. But to make any changes to it, you do have to come to the cell on the top left. So next, let's say that I now want to sort this by due date. So we'll come up here in the top left cell to edit our formula, and I'm going to, in the formula bar, delete the closing parentheses, add a comma to move on to the next field, which is the sort index. And this is where you can specify what column it is that you want to sort by. So to sort by due date, we need to figure out which column number due date is. And because due date is the fourth column in our data set, I'm going to type the number 4, close our parentheses, and now our data is sorted by due date. But what if we want to sort by multiple fields? Say we want to sort by manager and by due date. Well, we'll need to again edit the index field, but this time we're going to use curly bracket. So I'll delete the closing parentheses again, delete the 4, and I'm going to add a curly bracket. So I want to first sort by manager name, which will be column 2, followed by the due date for their project, which is column 4. And don't forget to add the closing curly brackets, followed by closing parentheses, and press enter. And now we've sorted our data by manager name and then due date for each manager's project. Let's add a comma in our formula bar here after the closing curly bracket so we can look at the next field in the function. So in this next field, we can specify the sort order that our data is going to be sorted in. And the default is ascending, so think A to Z, 1 through 20. And if this is how you want to sort, you could type the number 1, but it's not necessary since it defaults to this anyway, which is why I skipped this field in our examples. However, if you want to sort in descending order from largest to smallest or Z to A, we need to type a -1 here. So let's do that. And now you can see that our data is sorted by the manager name going from Z to A. And for managers that have multiple projects, we see the project with the latest due date listed first. So this is something to note that because we've sorted by multiple columns, it applied the descending order to both columns that we're sorting. So it's just good to be aware of how changes can affect your results. So let's step back into our formula here in the formula bar. We'll add a comma, and the last field in this function refers to the order in which your data would be sorted. So the default is to do it as I have my data organized here with the headers along the top and the data in the rows below it. So in order to sort this way, you don't need to do anything. You can skip it. It's the default. But let's say that we instead want to sort this new data range by due date. Now, because this data is organized by rows with the headings along the side instead of along the top, we'll need to address that final field. So let's type equals sort, open parentheses, and we'll select our data, excluding the headers, because again, we don't want those to be included in the results, comma. And to sort by due date, I'll need to type the number 3 because due date is the third row in this data range, comma. And I'm going to skip the sort order because I do want it to sort from smallest to largest. So I'll type another comma to skip that field. And now, because our data is sorted with the headings along the side, I need to specify here that I want to sort accordingly. So we'll type true to do the sort by column, close the parentheses. And now this data is sorted from left to right by order of due date. So sort by works similarly to sort, but with way more options. For example, let's say that we want to sort these projects by status. We'll type equal sort by, open parentheses, and we'll select our data, excluding the headers, comma. And in sort by, we don't need to figure out which column number to reference in the formula. We would just select the column range that we want to sort by. So because we want to sort this by status, I can just select the data under status, comma, and then the sort order is going to default to ascending, meaning A to Z. So if this is what you want, then you can either type a 1 or just press enter and leave it alone. Or if you want to sort descending orders, think Z to A or largest to smallest, then you would type a -1. But I want this to just sort in ascending order. So we'll press enter, and now our projects are sorted by status. So let's delete this. So another cool thing about sort by is that you control what parts of your data to display after you've sorted. Let me show you. We'll type equal sort by. And let's say we want to see our project in order of start date, but the only thing that we want to display in the results is the project name. So in sort by, whatever cell range you select for the array field is all that will display in the results. So let's select only the project names for the array, comma, and then select the start date to sort by. And we can do this because all of this data is in adjacent cells. So even though I didn't select it all, it's smart enough to know that it's all part of the same data group. And now I can see my project names in ascending order of what was started first. Sort by is also a really powerful tool when you need to sort multiple columns by different orders. So to do this, we'll type equals sort by, open parentheses, and I want everything displayed, so I'll select the entire cell range for the array, except the headers, of course, comma, and then I want to select the manager column so we can sort by manager, comma, but I want this sorted in descending order. So from Z to A, for example. So I'm going to type a -1, comma, and then now I also want to sort by due date. So I'll select the due dates, comma, and I want the due date sorted in ascending order, and I could leave this blank, but because I have multiple sorts going on, I'm going to type the number 1 for ascending order just for clarity. Then I can close the parentheses and press enter. And now my data is sorted by manager name in descending order and then by due date in ascending order. And also sort by detects whether you're trying to sort by rows or columns. You don't need to specify, it just knows. So let's say we want to sort this data by due date. All I need to do is select my data, comma, select the due date, and press enter. Thanks for watching, and for more tutorials like this, click on these links. Thanks.